position, Aiden.
Oh, I've never seen anything like this on a racetrack before! Two teammates wheel to wheel! Keep it clean! Inches separating them and they crash! Oh, they've come together in spectacular style and they're both out of the race!
I should fire you both right here and now. You've screwed our chances this season. Both of you, jet out.
Welcome back everyone to the Breaking Point series, and what you just saw is a summary of what happened in the previous episode. And so coming into next season, we are now here for Chapter 7 with not Racing Point, Aston Martin as we're now called. And now the big story is that we have switched over to Casper Akkerman's POV instead of Aiden Jackson. So let's head straight into the next season and Chapter 7 for the Australian Grand Prix qualifying.
Here we are then, another season of Formula One racing is upon us. Some teams confident following pre-season, whilst others still looking for answers. Let's see what the future holds for them as qualifying gets underway here in Melbourne. So, Aiden Jackson in 9th, but Aston Martin still hopeful the youngster can secure a decent position. Let's see how he gets on here. Teammate Casper Akkerman didn't make it through to Q3, narrowly missing out by just
13 milliseconds. You did all you could. If I went out second today, I would have those 13 milliseconds back, no problem. Why do they keep sending me out first?
11th isn't the end of the world, Casper. You'll make those places back.
Yeah, for sure. But I shouldn't have to. Zoe, hey.
Morning, Daddy.
Lily, you know it's not morning where Daddy is, right?
Mummy says you're on the other side of the world.
That's right. Daddy is in Australia. I'm upside down.
Then why don't the cars fall off?
Mommy can explain that. Can I speak to her?
Don't fall off, Daddy.
I won't, Lily. Promise.
Hey, qualifying not so good, huh?
And they sent me out first.
Again?
Yeah.
Well, some of your best races were coming from midfield.
Yeah?
Yeah. Besides, I thought you loved a challenge. Lils, off the table. Now, it's breakfast time. I should go.
Sure.
You'll be great. You always are. Love ya.
Love you too.
Okay, let me summarize what's kind of happened here. So, basically, Aston Martin are continuing to favor Aiden Jackson instead of Casper Akkerman, and that qualifying session proved it. So I think playing as Casper Akkerman is going to give us more of a challenge, and I'm extremely looking forward to it. Okay, let's head into the race and see what we can do playing as Casper Akkerman into the 2021 season.
Something's not right.
Understood, Casper. We're on it.
It's the gearbox. I lost a gear.
Push on, Casper. We're assessing. Just push on best you can.
I'll try.
Oh no, so we have a gearbox issue, and that's going to really affect our performance into this race. Our objective for this race is going to be finishing while still managing the fault, and I feel like that's going to be pretty easy, but I want to make sure that I finish inside the points, especially starting off the season here at Australia, so let's just manage the car the best we can.
Right, we've looked at the gearbox issue, but I'm afraid there's nothing we can do. Try and drive around it, we'll just have to hope for the best.
So predictably, the team can't really do anything for the gearbox, so we're just going to have to manage it. Let's try and make a move on Gasly, and I think this is going to be a pretty easy overtake as we get past the AlphaTauri and up into the points. On another note, besides racing, you're probably wondering why the uploads for Breaking Point haven't been as consistent as they were before. The reason why is because between Chapter 6 and 7, there was a halfway point of the series itself, so I decided to take a short little break from content since we ended off last season and we're now starting Chapter 7, and we're going to be beginning the second half of the season. So anyway, back to the action. We're now all over the back of Fernando Alonso in that Alpine car. The first time we've seen Alonso in this game because, of course, 2020, he wasn't in. So anyway, let's try and make a move on the Alpine driver around the outside. Doesn't give us a lot of space on the outside line, but we're going to go around the outside of the Alpine. But the Alpine comes back, and so we're going to have to overtake him into that turn, and we do get past him. And that was a pretty nice little battle there between Alonso and me. But anyway, moving on, we're getting very close to Aiden Jackson. Now, we are in fresher tires, but we have to remember we have the disadvantage of the gear problems, and so we're going to have a little bit of issues overtaking our teammate, I think, but it is going to be quite fun to see if we can overtake our teammate, who was the driver we were playing as in the first half of the season. We're getting closer and closer to Jackson, so I think the best place to make an overtake will be down the third DRS zone into turn 13, but let's see how this works out, as it looks like we go a little bit wide there, so that might compromise our exit out of that turn. So we're still within the same gap that we were just a few corners ago. I don't know if we're going to have the opportunity to make a move into this DRS zone, and I don't think we're going to. We still have the DRS, but there's just not enough space to make an overtake at this particular moment. So we're going to have to make the overtake into one of the first or second DRS zones when that comes up. We're getting closer and closer to Jackson, looking for that move on our teammate, and now we're all over the back of Aiden now. So let's see if we can make a move on our teammate on the other Aston Martin car. The driver that, of course, that the team is favoring, we're going to soar past, and we're going to get ahead with a much better exit out of the last turn, and we're going to get ahead of our teammate. After that, the tires started wearing down, and Ricardo was just way too far ahead, and so I decided that P8 was good enough, and Aiden was still pressurizing me with Alonso right behind as well. So we're going to come across the line in P8, 4 points for the team, and with all the gearbox problems, I think we can be pretty satisfied with that.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
What's happened there to Casper Akkerman? Still managed to finish, but that's got to be frustrating, and
Yeah, looks like maybe it was a gearbox fault, which is always a blow for the driver. Akkerman won't be happy, but I'd say he's done very well in the circumstances.
well, this isn't the start he would have wanted after last season. Let's hope things pick up for him.
Bad luck out there today. Let's talk about it. So, not a great race out there for you today, Casper. Can you talk us through what happened?
Basically, there was just a problem with the gearbox, so that's the answer I'll give.
Well, it was clearly an issue with the gearbox. Not a great place to be as a driver, but we'll work on it, I'm sure.
Well, despite obvious vehicle difficulty, you still managed to finish. How hard is it to bring it over the line when facing such issues?
The answer to the right says it all. You got to concentrate on the problem at hand, simultaneously driving the car, so you just got to hope for the best.
Well, this is where experience comes in. You just have to switch off, be mindful, but try and ignore what is going on around you. To concentrate only on the problem at hand, and hope for the best.
While it's an unfortunate start to this season, last season was muddied by a tense relationship with your teammate. How are things now with you and Aiden?
I already know the answer I'm going to say. That was last season. This is a new season, so we just got to move forward.
That was last season. It's no secret that Aiden and I had a few run-ins. But that's the risk when you put two drivers together for the first time. I don't like to look back, only forward. I'm sure he's learned a lot, and we'll see what happens this season.
Great. Well, that's everything.
Okay, so that was Chapter 7. I would say not a lot of action, but that was more of surviving that race instead of making it more of an action race. Next up is Bahrain for Chapter 8, and that will have a lot of action. So, we'll see how that goes. Subscribe and like to see more Breaking Point content, and thank you so much for watching. Peace out.